Everybody loves the next day because the next day isn't about Apple, Paul Thurrott. We're going to talk about Google because you've got a watch, if that's correct.
Yeah, I do, but I'm going to be sending it back.
Uh-oh. Well, before you send it back, Paul, everyone should take a listen to the message from today's sponsor.
Is your Active Directory vulnerable to cyber attacks? Active Directory is the #1 attack vector involved in 9 out of 10 attacks. Because of legacy Active Directory misconfigurations, it is a prime target for cyber criminals. To find and fix AD security vulnerabilities, you need Purple Knight, a free community Active Directory vulnerability assessment tool that is used by thousands of organizations to scan for indicators of exposure and compromise. Purple Knight provides a vulnerability assessment report and prioritizes recommendation guidance so you can quickly find and fix legacy misconfigurations that leave your core identity system open to attackers. You can also use Purple Knight to scan for vulnerabilities in Azure Active Directory, which is notoriously tricky to secure. Stop worrying about security gaps and download Purple Knight today to find out where the problem is and how to fix it. You can find links to Purple Knight in the description of this podcast.
So it's not so, I don't know, I was trying to figure out some sort of pun here, but risky doesn't work. But all right, what's the deal with the watch?
Yeah, this one's surprising to me. So on the one hand, the Pixel Watch it's a much nicer device than I sort of anticipated it would be. I have this vague memory. I looked at the reviews and stuff when it first came out, knowing I wasn't going to get it. And my memory is that it was mostly kind of negative. And I'm looking back on those reviews now. I've kind of gone through a few. They're not as negative as I remember, but I just sort of felt like there's no way this thing's going to stack up to an Apple Watch, like a V1 product, whatever. But honestly, just from a functionality perspective, the presentation of it, the way the way it presents, text and graphics and things, and the performance, it's, flipping between screens and whatever, the obviousness or the intuitiveness or whatever you want to call it of the UI, it's honestly, it's pretty great. Like, it works great. But it has this like Achilles heel. And this one's a tough one because I think it would impact just about anyone. And that is the battery life. Like, there's two issues. They're related. Battery life is horrible. It's even worse than the Apple Watch. And by that, I mean it's not even a day of battery. So you have to charge it a lot. And the related problem is it charges very slowly. And this is a problem with the Pixel phones as well. They don't really support fast charging, as I would call it. Neither charges fast. So with the Apple Watch, I got into a routine where, I still have to charge it every day, right? But there's some point in the afternoon where I'll lay down in the bed for an hour or something, and I work on a laptop, and I just throw it in the little charger, and it charge you. I mean, you have an older one, but this thing charges really fast. Like, it's fast.
I used to have an older one. I have an 8 now.
I'm sorry, you've upgraded.
Oh, bleeding edge, right. Paul.
Okay. So actually, did you notice a battery life or a charging speed difference with the new one?
No, because I don't sleep with this thing on. I mean, I slept with it on for like the first 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, it told me I got a good night's sleep. It's like, I already know that. So my routine is I put the phone on the charger and I put my watch on the charger, and I charge overnight, and I've never had an issue. Right.
So that is the obvious response to my complaint with the Pixel Watch would be, well, don't worry about it. It charges slowly, but you're going to charge it overnight, so who cares? Yesterday, I actually just let it charge. I wanted to get it to 100%. Dude, it took like 2 hours. Like, it got up until it was like 90% forever, and then it was like 93. It took forever to get to 100%. But see, the problem is it doesn't last a full day. So if you have an exact schedule you want to maintain for charging, I think this would make it hard. I haven't actually tested it, but this way, I mean, because I do use it to monitor my sleep. But if you charge it overnight and you woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning and it doesn't last the full day, would the day end and you'd be out of, you might actually run out of battery depending on what you did with it, because certain things obviously impact the battery more, like using the GPS or whatever. I don't have an LTE version, but the battery, it's very disappointing. Like, I knew going from Fitbit to Apple Watch, I was going to have a problem with the charge it every day thing. And like I said, you kind of adopt this schedule. It's fine. I think some people do it. They'll throw it on a charge when they take a shower or whatever. And it charges fast enough. Like, that's perfectly viable. The Pixel Watch doesn't. And it's too bad because if they could solve that and not change anything else, I would keep this thing. I really like this device. Like I really like the way it works. Of course, I also have a recent Fitbit. I think it's a Charge 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so that thing lasts 6 or 7 days on a battery, right? It has a color screen. It's, it's small. It's smaller than this, but it's, it's kind of set it and forget it. And I don't remember. I'm in the process of writing this up as we speak, but there's a list of Fitbit features that this watch does and does not support. So like if you got a Fitbit Sense or Versa, whatever the smartwatch names are, you would get days and days of battery life and additional features that aren't on this watch. And it's like, it's not a superset of everything that's available in the Fitbit ecosystem. It's not technically a Fitbit, right? It's a Pixel watch with Fitbit integrated. But anyway, I have to say, I like Wear OS quite a bit. That's that whole thing's been surprising to me. So that works nice. The customization capabilities are really good. I don't know, I think it's nice. Yeah, it's really nice.
You're nice. So if they solve the battery,
yeah,
would you go back to it?
Yeah, I would. So I think my strategy now is going to be stick with Fitbit for now, and see what they do in the fall. There are now the first rumors that maybe they're going to do a Pixel Watch already this year. I think one of the things I was remembering when I was thinking that the reviews were mostly negative is the Pixel Watch actually uses seems impossible. It's like a 5-year-old chipset. It's like really old, and it's on a larger manufacturing process. And so obviously if they went with something more modern, they would get some efficiency gains and performance gains and whatever else. But yeah, if they just that one thing, I probably would switch to it. I'd like to. I've been struggling with this because I kind of want to, keep it. By the way, I learned something weird about myself. So, right now I don't have the Apple Watch on, right? So this is my primary hand. I'm a right-handed, but this is my left hand, obviously. So that's the hand I put it like a wearable on usually. But when I test these things side by side, I have to have 2 of these things on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one's ever come up to me and said, "What the hell are you doing? Why do you have 2 watches on?" But the Apple Watch was on this wrist, and when I started wearing the Pixel Watch, I had it on this wrist, and it was too tight. Like the widest, the last loop, it was just too tight on my wrist. And so I actually started looking into like third-party straps and like, could I replace the strap and blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, I got to walk away from the Apple Watch. And I was like, it was really hard. I've been wearing that thing for 6-7 months now. It was hard to put it down, like just leave it, because it's been tracking everything every day. And it's it's like a weird mental thing. But I put the Pixel Watch on this wrist and it fits fine. Like this wrist is smaller. And whatever joke you want to make about my wrist size. But I don't know. I can't explain that. That's something I've never noticed. But yeah, if it's okay over here, but over here it's too tight. So I'm a freak of nature, I guess.
Well, we can at least agree on part of that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's disappointing because
it is. Yeah.
Still looking for that. Like, you'll never get a 1-to-1 alternative for the Apple Watch, but something that's like, in the market for it or in the region.
Honestly, it's closer than I think a lot of people would think. Well, everyone uses devices differently, right?
True.
I think I ignore a lot of the stuff going on the Apple Watch. There's just all this app stuff that I just don't really care about. I mean, I guess I technically use it mostly for fitness tracking or whatever you want to call that. And then time and weather, pretty much.
Yep.
And it does, notifications, like if you get a text message. There are interactions on the Apple Watch that I don't like. I find it to be very chatty, and it's always like interrupting me and doing things. I don't like the way it takes over for notifications, and I'm sure you can go in and, fix that. But if like I get a phone call or a text message when I'm wearing an Apple Watch, it goes on the Apple Watch only, like it's not on my phone. And I don't like that. This works more the way I expect these things to work, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it's not like these things actually compete. No one is walking into this like, I want a smartwatch. So which one do I pick? I guess I'll pick the Google, and it's like, well, you can't use it with an iPhone. So you obviously can't use an Apple phone with an Android phone. So they're just, these secondary or tertiary devices in the chain. But
yep.
Anyway, it's good. It's like I said, I'm surprised by how much I like it. I did not expect that at all.
Well, since we had an all Apple episode earlier this week, this will be an all Google one. So Google also, I think it was a leak memo, correct me if I'm wrong, talking about how they're going to integrate AI and all that stuff into their search results with more visual, snackable, whatever stuff.
Yeah. I didn't report this correctly myself. It was something when I wrote it, I kind of, as I got to the end, I was like, I got to fix this somehow so it's more obvious, and I didn't really do a good job of it. Everyone is talking about how they're going to integrate AI into Google search results, which is obvious and whatever. And you can also sort of look at it and say, well, Bing is doing the same thing. They're obviously kind of copying Bing. And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe. But that snackable thing you just mentioned, I think is the real story here, because Google feels that search is threatened. But it's not just by AI, which I think is a problem they can solve. It's that people are getting information from other places. And those places are things like TikTok, where they have nothing, no good competition per se. I mean, they obviously have, I don't know what they call them, shorts or whatever on YouTube or reels or whatever these stupid names are. But I don't think I don't think people are turning to that stuff. Like TikTok has an audience, like it's, and there's an issue, I guess, with like the size of the web has kind of stalled. Like we have enough websites now, we're done. There's no major new news site coming or whatever. There's no one's looking forward to some big website anymore. It's like apps are kind of the thing, and specifically TikTok. And I think they're trying to reach an audience that right now is not particularly interested in the way they present information because they've grown up on TikTok. It's like low attention span theater or something. To me, that's in some ways the big story, because we just talked. I think we talked yesterday about this notion that Google's a one-hit company. They're vulnerable because of that, and it's super obvious to look at the world today and say, well, that AI is going to be the comet that kills this dinosaur, and it's like it might be a little more nuanced than that. The world is changing because Google can do the AI thing. They're going to get that right. The question is going to be if that's enough. And I think the TikTok thing is a problem people don't really talk about that much.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. I wish I had written it that way.
Well, there's always next time. And there's always tomorrow.
Sure.